This is Prater Crash 00 and Joseph 82. Today we're talking about the economy. Don't believe your lying eyes. Joseph, I'm getting really sad and angry, really bad right now. I'm stressing out because everyone's stupid.
Okay.
Yes, it's stupid. In fact, they're not just stupid. Matter of fact, they're stupid and ignorant. And of what, you might ask? Everything that has to do with our economy. If you listen to any of the talking points on any of the major media outlets, they'll cite our political leaders telling us that, oh, it's okay. We're devaluing our dollar to make us more competitive in the market. It's okay. It's not going to last very long.
Inflation hear them talking about the devaluation of the dollar. The only people that I hear talking about the devaluation of the dollar are alternative media sources like Gerald Celente and Dr. Paul Craig Roberts. If you watch MSNBC or Fox News, I never hear them say anything about the devaluation. I don't even hear them talk about quantitative easing that much.
Well, I think it's because they like to use the term. They like to term it as competitive currencies. They want to make the dollar more competitive in the market, our products more competitive, and that's where they're doing the bait and switch right here. And I'll talk about devaluation. Okay, I keep hearing these guys say we are on the edge of financial calamity. We're getting there, so we got to fix it quick. No, that is crazy talk. We are there, sir. We are at the financial disaster. And some people say, why? Why, Prater? Why? How are we there? They say we're not there. We're on the edge. No, we're there, and there's a reason why. Devaluation is essentially lowering the amount that the buying power of our dollar. And yes, I will agree that it does make our products more attractive. Our exports become cheaper and easier to buy. So when a country's looking at two countries, to say there's the U.S. and here's, we'll say, Zimbabwe, and they say, oh, America's stuff's cheaper, we're going to buy that. But there's a real bad backlash to that, and it actually lessens our purchasing power. And when we import 70% of what we use and consume in the United States, devaluation completely it just completely diminishes any buying power you have. It just cuts your legs out from under you. You have no buying power, and it makes the product look attractive, but it just completely robs us. And the problem is you can't just revalue your currencies in a second. You can't do that. We argue China can't do that. They devalue and value their currencies all the time. They say it's unfair. Well, we can't do it either. And then the second thing I want to talk about was the inflation bubble. Everyone says inflation is a natural thing. Yes, inflation is a natural thing. Economics 101. Inflation happens. Okay? But then the Fed, in all of its just brilliance, talks about price stability. And somehow, Ben Bernanke and his brilliance, his mind must just be great. I mean, he must have the power of 1 million people in his mind. And they decided that a 2% inflation rate is price stable. That's fine. However, in the 1970s, I don't know if you're aware of this 1970s period where we had that small economic collapse under Carter, we were trying to halt runaway inflation of 4%. So 2% is price stability. And let me explain to you what that means. At 2%, which is stable, the prices for everything we buy will double every 36 years. I don't want to break it to you. The financial calamity happened in 2008. And we're still dealing with it. We have people who have lower incomes than they were years ago. The average per capita income is now lower than it was. The lowest it's been for a long time, for 30, 40 years. And we have high unemployment, and the nanny state is getting bigger and bigger. So where are we going to get this money to pay for things? And the answer, as you probably know, Drusif, is we print more, which then causes inflation. And essentially what we're creating is a giant inflation bubble. And when that pops, coupled with the devaluation and the loss of buying power of the dollar, I mean, I don't even know what to do. You and I are screwed. The people are screwed. If you do not have $1 billion in savings that can take the 50% cut to your value, you're still worth $500 million. But for the rest of us, oh my goodness, we're hosed. Anyway, I need to take a breath. What do you think?
Yeah. I think you left out a few things, but yeah. I think you left out when the rest of the world figures out, and they're already figuring it out, by the way, that our currency is worthless and they've been printing.
Oh, I love that. I've heard so many liberal talking heads talk about how because the dollar is the reserve currency, that we're protected against this calamity. That's crap. China and Australia, I want people to look this up. China and Australia have agreed to a bilateral agreement that they will no longer use the dollar as intermediary for their currencies.
Yeah. Why should?
very directly. BRICS, that bank that had what's BRICS? Brazil, Russia, India, and China. The BRICS Bank.
In South Africa.
Yeah, South Africa. These guys are essentially these countries are deciding to sell stuff to each other without using the intermediary. The petrodollar is dying.
Of course it
my
is.
friend. And they will not admit it to you because they don't know what to do. They've caused so many bubbles and so many problems, all artificially created.
Their mischief.
Exactly, due to their mischief, their own just perverted economic thoughts. That now we're all going to suffer the consequences. It's going to happen soon. And these are all lies. It's not. They aren't misstating it. I hate that term misstatement. It is a lie.
They're willfully lying to you.
Exactly, and it's pathetic. And people don't understand this. And it's hard to put it into simpler terms.
People don't understand this because they're too busy watching Dancing with the Stars, NFL, drinking, eating Cheetos. Because honestly, I don't even hold the people really responsible anymore. And I know ultimately we are responsible because we have abdicated our civic duties and responsibilities to stay on top of this. We've been asleep at the switch. I get it. However, I do believe that there has been a concerted effort to systematically freaking dumb the people down, keep them diverted, keep them distracted, wag the dog, whatever you want to call it, give them bread and circus, so that they don't see how bad it is. I mean, what do we think this whole gay marriage issue is right now? The economy is coming down in shambles around us. We're considering, going to war with Syria. By the way, the media is telling us every day they're beating the war drums about North Korea, like they possess the capacity to deliver a nuclear strike on America. These guys can't make cars, okay? They have cars from the 1950s. This is a joke, okay? Anything to keep the American public distracted. So ultimately, I think that, yes, at the base we are at fault ourselves, but I think there's a lot of culpability to go around. I think a lot of people in the mainstream media and in politics are guilty of pulling the wool over our eyes and misrepresenting us and not doing what we elected them to do.
I agree. Though I didn't listen to everything, so I was thinking about Cheetos. But nevertheless.
Sorry, did you say something?
Yeah, Cheetos. Yeah.
I was on my iPhone.
Oh, good point. Looking at who won Dancing with the Stars.
I was checking my Facebook status.
Ah, I see. Very good. No, this is we jest, but this is the point. These things, economic indicators, they are not the most interesting things to read about. Okay, it is not Kim Kardashian's latest fashion trend. I admit it. But the thing is, Kim Kardashian's not going to come and pay your bills when your dollar isn't worth as much as it was yesterday.
No, but she is going to name her son Christ with a K.
Okay, we could say that for another time. Nevertheless, she's not going to save you. Your iPhone, which you won't be able to afford once inflation hits, is not going to save you. You have to become informed about this. Economics is not difficult. They've made it complex. I love that when they answer, oh, the world economy is so complex. No, we made it complex. Economics is simple. I remember when I was in graduate school, my economics book was 100 pages long. That's it.
Yep.
Everything else was really big. That was super small because economics is very simple. It's a simple science.
Yep.
And yet they try to make it very complicated. It's pathetic. I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. I hate when people dumb it down to say, oh, it's more complicated. Yeah. Don't worry about it. We got it solved. No, their solutions are causing more problems than anything they've ever solved before. And the problem is it's going to come down on us, not them, because they could always vote themselves more money or print more money. You and I, though, were left out to dry with a devalued dollar and no buying power.
Yeah, they're the guys that get the golden parachute while we get hosed. It's the exact same thing with the housing bubble. Mm-hmm. What happened? The banksters that engineered that calamity were bailed out while tens of thousands of people lost their homes.
Exactly.
This is a joke.
They're manufactured crises created by our own government in a feeble attempt to make policy that stabilizes something that stabilizes itself.
It makes you wonder if they almost wonder if they want to do this.
I don't know. I don't have enough time to go into talking about whether or not what their actual motives are about it. But all I can say is that if people don't wake up and start looking at this stuff and actually looking through it and not worrying about their Facebook updates, we're going to be in a world of trouble. And no matter how much you and I talk about it, it's going to come down on top of us. That's all I have. Get depressed. Please leave a comment and know what you think about it. Thanks.